They say cut back.
We say fight back.
They say cut back.
We say fight back.
It was a show of support for workers whose benefits and paid breaks are being cut in response to the recent minimum wage hike. And what's interesting, the protests were organized by several unions who are suggesting this could be the perfect moment for workers to mobilize and work together to protect their interests. Stephanie Skandaris has that story.
In Cobourg, Ontario, where this backlash began, more than 100 people gathered to support Tim Hortons workers.
I'd like them to give their benefits back, let them keep their tips, and let them have paid breaks. There's no reason to cut all of that, absolutely no reason whatsoever.
But the overriding message was clear.
If I was them, I'd be trying to join a union, because that's really the most important thing they could get is protection of a collective agreement.
It was the same scenario earlier in the day at Tim Hortons around Toronto.
Coffee break. Paid break?
Yes.
And we want them to have respect?
Yes.
And labor activists had a warning for Tim Hortons' parent company.
The CEO better hear me loud and clear. The labor movement is going to mobilize like Ontario has not seen in a very long time. And to the workers that are being disadvantaged, to workers that find themselves in precarious jobs, I know how you can help yourselves. Join a union in the province of Ontario. That's how we make life better for workers. Join a union.
But that may not be so easy.
Fast food employers are really anti-union. They're really invested in union avoidance.
She says employers dilute support for unions by hiring new employees, firing old ones, or moving them to another franchise. And even if workers do manage to unionize, it's not without risks. A handful of McDonald's restaurants in BC, Ontario, and Quebec unionized in the 90s, then were either decertified or shut down.
Our labor legislation doesn't do enough to protect workers who want to unionize, and it doesn't do enough to support workers in industries like fast food, once they unionize, to create good collective agreements.
If Tim's workers need an example, they can look to Winnipeg. 2 Tim Hortons restaurants have unionized there, one in 2015 and one this past summer. Stephanie Skandaris, CBC News, Toronto.